today I'm going to be making something really simple, and these are my sugar cookie chocolate fingers. And we only have two ingredients. I have some Hershey's chocolate chips right here that I'm going to be using. And I have some sugar cookie dough, and this is the Wilton sugar cookie dough. I will provide a link for that at the end of this video. And those are the two ingredients that we need. So, with that said, let's get started. Alright, so our first step is to get a little bit of flour down on our work area. And I know what you're thinking. You're saying, oh, this doesn't look like it's going to be much of a recipe because there aren't many ingredients, but we'll see how it goes, and we'll see how well we can impress ourselves. So I've just got my sugar dough here. I just want to get it nicely floured. And I'm just going to roll it out a little bit. I'll just grab my little bench scraper. I'll just cut it in half just to make it a little easier. And what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to, you can do it any way you want. You can roll it out, make it larger, or you can just take, just roll it out a little bit to get that kind of thickness. And I'm just going to cut it into little strips. That one there I'm going to leave a little longer. Okay, so we've got our little strips here. And you can already see what we're trying to achieve here. We're trying to make little fingers. So I don't have a ton of dough, so I'm going to make them a little bit smaller, but there we go. See, just something like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half. Okay, so we've got little fingers. So make sure I'm on camera. There we go. Then we'll just get these rolled out. You want them, almost the same length. That's about right. And there we go. So you can see there's not much to this recipe. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking our chocolate chips, and you can use any kind of chocolate you wish. But we're going to do my little tempering trick, and I'm going to take out half of the chocolate chips, and I'm going to microwave what's left in the bowl. So I'm going to take half out, and I'm only going to microwave or heat 1/2 of those chocolate chips. And then we're going to slowly add the rest of the chocolate chips that are still not heated, and we're going to add those back into the heated chocolate, so that we can kind of try to temper our chocolate. And that's just going to let us, have a product that, that where the chocolate actually sets up and dries and cools properly, and we have a nice little snap to the chocolate. Because if we melt the whole chocolate all together, so if we took all of this and just melted the whole thing, we're not going to get a really super end product. But if I take half of it out, melt only half, and then slowly add in the other half, what's going to happen is we're going to get a much nicer chocolate at the end. So I'll show that to you in a bit. For now, I'll just continue on here. There we go. I'm just going to use that as a template. That looks pretty good. And I'm on camera. Good. It's always good to be on camera. Otherwise, I'm just talking to myself. Depends on how lonely you are. If you're really lonely and you talk to yourself, and you feel good about it, then that's pretty good. Alright, so go like that. And just get these done like this. Alright, that's good enough. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue on making these. I'm just going to roll them out nicely, and then I'll come back. Alright, so after we've cut our little fingers up, get them onto a tray, and we're going to bake them now for about 8 to 10 minutes at 350 degrees. So I'm going to go pop these in, and I'll be back. I have my chocolate here, and I've got a couple of bowls. And the reason for the bowls is I just want to make sure that I, really do get this kind of half and half. I'm not going to be that accurate, but I just want to make sure. So there we go. That looks about half and half, maybe a little more there. There we go. If I wanted to be perfectly accurate, I could measure them, but I'm not going to. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this chocolate here, pour it back in here, and then I'm going to microwave this, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the defrost mode on my microwave. I never want to use the regular heat mode because we don't want to burn or scorch our chocolate. So I'm just going to microwave this on defrost. I'm going to start out with about 15 seconds and then I'm going to give it a little stir. And always stir your chocolate because even though when it starts to melt, the chocolate can be much warmer than you actually think it is, and the chocolate really retains the shape of the little chippets. So you really have to get in there with a little spoon and mix it around to actually see at what level the chocolate has actually melted, okay? So that's what I'm going to do now, and I'll be back in a second. Alright, so here's my chocolate, and I used defrost, the defrost mode that is. And I checked it every 15 seconds or so. It took about maybe just over a minute. I didn't actually count every second, but anyway. So what you want to do is just do, 15 or 20 seconds and then check it again and check it again. And you should never be, on defrost mode, you're not going to burn the chocolate, but if you're using regular mode, you will. So there we go. So you can see it's nicely melted now, and you really do want to just mix it up really well. And the bottom of my bowl is warm. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get, well, I'll just put them all in. And I'm going to start mixing all of these in. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to keep stirring this. I'm probably going to need more chocolate than this, so I'm not worried about pouring that much chocolate in because I might have to heat this up again. And if I do heat this up, then I will add more chocolate to it because I'm going to need more anyway, I believe. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep mixing this up and getting it melted. You can see they're all slowly melting. And if you think that they're almost melted but you need a little bit of help, what you can do is take your palm of your hand and just get it on there and cover the bottom of the bowl, and the heat from your hand will actually transfer to the hot, to the chocolate and warm it up a little bit. So you can just take your time and do this. So I am going to actually heat this just a little bit. You see I still have chunks in here, so I want to heat it, but I do not want to melt all of that chocolate, so I'm going to be very, very careful. I'm going to do about 15 seconds and then I'm going to really stir it again to make sure that I don't melt all the chocolate. Okay. That was 15 seconds and look what's happened. You can actually see that because the chocolate was already hot, that this is melting very, very quickly. So what do I want to do now? I'm going to grab some more chocolate chips and I'm just going to add a few in here. Just add a few in. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my final tempering, and I'm just going to slowly get these incorporated. At this point I don't want to add a lot more chips. I want to see what's going to melt into the hot chocolate, or the warm chocolate here. I'm not talking about hot chocolate that you drink, because that's what it kind of sounded like. So the warm chocolate that's already there, I want to see how long it's going to take for these little ones to melt in there. So I'm just going to stir this, and I'll just keep going at this. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably just pause the tape here, because you don't want to see me doing this for another minute or so, because it's going to get rather boring. But you can see that those chocolate chips are slowly melting in there. So I have added no more heat to this except that extra 15 seconds that I showed you before. And you can see now, just with the stirring, everything is almost incorporated. I could probably add in a few more chocolate chips just to see if they'll melt. There we go. And I'll stir those in. And once they're incorporated, I will come back and we'll be ready to finish off our little fingers. Alright, so I have baked these for a total of 10 minutes and I let them cool right down because I want my chocolate to solidify on there very nicely. So we've got these and I have my chocolate all ready to go. So we're going to do our next step now. So what I've got here is a little piece of parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, you can use wax paper. So let's get on with the next step. So I'm just going to grab our little fingers, and you can do any which way you like. So I'm just going to go like that. Grab another one. You can do both sides if you wish. I'm just going to do one side here. I'm going to let them cool a little bit, and then maybe we'll do the second side. All depends on what you want to do. There's 3. I think for the size of these cookies though, you really don't need to do both sides, but you could if you wished. There we go. They kind of look nice like that. There we go. Another one. And what's nice about parchment paper is anything that's on there, like the chocolate, it just comes right off when it's cooled. Well, as I'll show you in a little while. There we go. And we'll just get that down like that. Alright, so what we're going to do, I'm just going to get these onto a little tray here. There we go. And I'm going to pop these into the fridge just to chill them down, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, so they've been chilling for about 10 minutes and I just want to show you the final product here. So there we go, you can see how nicely these just come right off, just like that. There we go. Put a few this way. So there you have it. My little chocolate sugar cookie fingers. Really, really simple, and the kids love these. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.